Hi, and welcome to my podcast. I quite enjoy reading the obituaries section of the UK Times newspaper. It's fascinating to read about the interesting lives that other people have led. Many are not particularly well known or famous, but their stories can often be inspiring. A couple of years back, I read the obituary of the Reverend John Collins, as I was intrigued by the headline that said he was an Anglican clergyman who mentored Justin Welby, the recent Archbishop of Canterbury, and helped to lead the charismatic renewal in the church after a visitation by the Holy Spirit. That caught my attention, and as I read, I was inspired. Having been involved in the charismatic wing of the church most of my life, I wondered who this person was, who died in December 2022 at the grand age of 97. Not being an Anglican, I confess I'd never heard of him before, but he was a key figure within the church and in so many people's lives. It seemed to me that he had a hugely significant role as a mentor not only to people such as Justin Welby, but the list of those he also mentored included David McInnes and David Watson, well-known evangelists in the 1970s, David Shepherd, the England cricketer who became Bishop of Liverpool, John Mumford, who went on to lead the Vineyard Churches in the UK. John Collins also led Holy Trinity Brompton in London during the 1980s and transformed the church into one of the largest within the Church of England, before handing over to Sandy Miller and staying on to serve as his curate for 5 years. It seems that he was happy to be a man who served others. I thought how wonderful it was that this guy may not have been a well-known name outside the C of E, but he had influenced and mentored so many who are or have been. He also pioneered church planting and invented what he called the, in quotes, evangelistic supper party, end quotes, which was an important part of the Alpha course. This was a life well lived. It caused me to think of my own experience and the people who've mentored me down through the years. Without their wisdom and encouragement, I would never have become what I am today. The list is really extensive, and I don't want to name too many names, or I'm bound to forget someone, and that will be embarrassing. But as a teenager living in South Wales in the early 1970s, there were two key mentors for me, and they were John Glass and Ron Spillards. You may know of them, or you may not. But they saw some potential in me that they encouraged and nurtured, and that set me on the path of writing modern hymns, recording albums, leading worship, organising worship events in stadiums, and hopefully inspiring others along the way. And over the decades that followed, I've been influenced by so many who have helped make me a better person and developed my gifts and abilities. So I simply want to encourage you in this podcast to think about the people who have been an inspiration and influence to you over the years. If they are still alive, look for opportunities to thank them. Perhaps tell others about how they mentored you. And I want to encourage you to think of ways in which you can mentor others and help them develop and grow. They may go on to achieve far more than you because what is our ceiling becomes their floor. They don't have to fight the same battles that we did. So that gives them a head start. I think of my own experience when I was starting out as a musician. It was a battle to get contemporary music into the church when I was a teenager. Some pastors still thought that drums were of the devil and that electric guitars were created by the Antichrist. As for modern worship songs, they were considered lightweight when compared to the great hymns of old. But all these years later, we see a healthy contemporary worship scene within the church and great new songs being written continuously. The generation of UK songwriters and worship leaders who followed in the footsteps of myself, Graham Kendrick, Chris Bowater, Dave Bilbrough, Dave Fellingham, and many others have gone on to achieve greater success and influence worldwide. We are happy to have been mentors to some of them and enabled them to pursue their dreams. So don't stop looking out for those who you can mentor, inspire, and encourage. Who knows what potential you will unlock in their lives. And as you do so, bear these things in mind. You are never too old to learn or too young to teach. Be a good listener. Share your knowledge and advice freely. Give constructive feedback to those you are helping. Be non-judgmental and always encouraging. Be honest and candid. Give your time and resources freely. And finally, celebrate the success of those you mentor. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. There are many others for you to listen to in this series. And don't forget to visit www.noelrichards.com and sign up for my newsletter so that I can keep you updated with all the things I am doing. Thank you once again.